Have you ever wondered how to provide the best care for your loved ones as they age? In today's video, we'll explore 3 new ways to care for the elderly, which focuses on enhancing their quality of life and promoting well-being. Whether you're a caregiver, a family member, or simply someone who wants to learn more about this important topic, these insights are designed to help you make a meaningful impact. Stick around until the end, because we'll share practical tips that not only improve health and happiness for those over 65, but also empower you with valuable knowledge to make a difference in their lives. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Number 1. The experience of a 75-year-old grandpa. As I reflect on my life, I realize I've quite an array of experiences, particularly concerning my living arrangements as I age. This year marks my 75th birthday, and I find myself reminiscing 5 years since my wife passed away. Shortly after her death, I made the difficult decision to hire a caregiver, thinking it would help me maintain my independence while ensuring I had proper care and companionship. However, I quickly found that this arrangement was not as beneficial as I had hoped. Despite my children's good intentions, the cost of hiring a caregiver, which amounted to 5,500 yuan per month, was a significant burden, especially given our modest pensions. The caregiver, a woman in her 40s from a rural background, appeared to be trustworthy, but her cooking skills left much to be desired. The meals she prepared were often inedible, and I found myself more frustrated than cared for. Instead of engaging with me, she frequently spent her time glued to her phone or watching TV, seemingly indifferent to my needs. On several occasions, I would call for her assistance, only to be met with silence. It felt as though I had become more of a burden to her rather than a client in need of care. After 2 months, I decided it was best to let her go. I couldn't justify paying someone for such a lack of support and engagement. I thought it would be wiser to invest that money in my groceries and prepare my meals. Following this experience, my children took it upon themselves to find me a spot in a nursing home. However, I was reluctant to leave my home and the independence I cherished. They insisted, driven by their concerns for my safety, living alone. Although nursing homes have improved over the years, with more amenities and comforts, they often come with strict regulations and management that I found stifling. The requirement to register every time I entered or exited the building felt suffocating, and I value my freedom immensely. Furthermore, being surrounded by the reality of aging, witnessing my peers passing away, was deeply unsettling. I didn't last even a month in the nursing home before I chose to leave. From my perspective, as long as a person can care for themselves, seeking a nursing home shouldn't be a consideration, especially if they cherish their independence. In the aftermath of my nursing home experience, my children proposed an alternative. I could rotate between staying with each of them for short periods. While their intentions were undoubtedly rooted in love and care, I felt overwhelmed by this arrangement. I had always envisioned living out my later years independently, without relying heavily on my children. I spent time at my son's house first. Both he and his wife worked full-time and were seldom home during the day. My daughter-in-law would prepare lunch and leave it for me in the fridge. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was an inconvenience. Their busy lives meant that when they returned home, they were preoccupied with household chores, leaving me to feel isolated in a space that wasn't my own. The limited interaction with the neighbors added to my discomfort as I was more accustomed to the familiarity of my own home. Though my son and daughter-in-law treated me with respect, I began to notice subtle signs of disdain from the younger generation. For example, in my son's home, they designated specific utensils for me, separate from those used by the family. At my daughter-in-law's house, I faced another uncomfortable reality. She insisted I could not use the washing machine due to her dislike for the scent of elderly individuals. I preferred to wash my clothes by hand, but that option was off the table. Instead, I found myself making inconvenient trips to the laundry facilities on the first floor. When I visited my daughter's house, I never anticipated that she would take on the role of my caregiver in my old age. Nonetheless, she and her husband treated me with kindness and consideration each time I stayed with them. I was always conscious that my son-in-law also had his parents and responsibilities. Over the years, my daughter's maternal grandparents had actively participated in raising her children. When my daughter got married, it was her family that made significant investments, like buying a house and a car. It became clear to me that as I aged, I needed to recognize my situation. Since my wife's passing, I have gradually learned a valuable truth. It is vital to trust oneself as I navigate the challenges of aging. As long as I can care for myself, I believe I do not need to go anywhere. There truly is no place like home. Determined to maintain my independence, I took the initiative to learn how to cook. I taught myself to sauté vegetables and even make steamed buns. Additionally, I embraced a healthier lifestyle by practicing Tai Chi. Each morning, I join a group of elderly individuals in the local square to exercise and share in camaraderie. Prioritizing my health and nurturing a positive attitude has become paramount to me. Last year, inspired by our Tai Chi practice, a group of us decided to create a new approach to self-care that focuses on mutual support. Within our Tai Chi group, we have formed a community of over 10 individuals, most of whom, like me, are elderly and live without partners or children nearby. To strengthen our connections, we also joined a WeChat group specifically for lonely elderly people. Over the past year, this group has grown to nearly 20 members, all with the shared goal of ensuring we look after one another. We recognize that as we age, especially without family nearby, having someone to rely on in times of sickness or distress is invaluable. Many in our situation prefer not to seek out nursing homes or caregivers, particularly given our limited pensions. Thus, we have banded together to provide care and companionship during this stage of life. In recent years, numerous reports have surfaced online about elderly individuals living alone and tragically passing away in their homes, only to be discovered days later. This alarming reality motivated us to establish our group, ensuring that we remain connected and look out for one another's well-being. Each morning, we check in via our group chat. If someone doesn't respond, we make it a point to visit and see how they are doing. The beauty of our arrangement is that we all reside in proximity, whether in the same neighborhood or adjacent ones. Over time, this group has evolved into a support network, where we can share experiences and offer help. For instance, if someone falls ill and requires assistance with meals or needs company for a hospital visit, we have established a system where we compensate each other at a rate of 8 yuan per hour. If I find myself unwell and need to go to the hospital, I simply notify the group, and whoever is available will come to accompany me. Just recently, a fellow member, whom I fondly refer to as Grandpa, helped me during my hospital visits. He provided invaluable support over 3 days, working 8 hours each day, which totaled 24 hours of assistance. I compensated him 720 yuan, as agreed. This system works wonderfully for us. Not only do we have someone to rely on, but we can also earn a little income in the process. It becomes a reciprocal relationship. Sometimes I care for you, and you pay me, and at other times you help me and I compensate you. It feels fair and balanced. Most importantly, we all share similar life experiences and understand one another's situations, which has fostered a deep sense of trust within our group. This approach to caring for one another is much more cost-effective than hiring an assistant or moving into a nursing home. It also alleviates worries for our children, knowing there is a community of us looking out for one another. Occasionally, we organize outings to the park or other activities, allowing us to enjoy life together. What began as a small group has now blossomed into a network of dozens of elderly individuals who have chosen to join us. This community not only lessens the burden on our children, but also provides emotional support that is so vital in our later years. Every day, there is someone who cares for us, checks in on us, and ensures that if we fall ill, we are not left alone. Remarkably, all of this comes at a cost of just a few hundred yuan, which is far more affordable than hiring a caregiver or living in a nursing home. This option seems ideal for most elderly individuals who can care for themselves. Together, we support one another as we navigate the challenges of aging, finding joy in companionship, and even earning a little money along the way. Your thoughts and opinions matter greatly to us. Thank you for taking the time to read my experiences. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 2. I am the grandfather. I am 65 years old. As a proud grandfather, I find myself reflecting on the life choices I've made at this stage in my journey. My children have been fortunate enough to receive a solid education, but I have reached a point where I prefer not to live with them. I have consciously decided to embrace a lifestyle that aligns with my personal needs and desires. Many older adults, upon retirement, often choose to live with their children or relocate to a retirement community, but both of these options feel quite unappealing to me. The lifestyle I have chosen allows me to savor a profound sense of comfort and independence. It has been more than 2 years since my beloved wife passed away, and since then, many friends and acquaintances have gently suggested that I should seek out a new partner. However, I find myself resisting that notion. I truly value the tranquility I have cultivated in my life. Following my wife's death, I have discovered the joys of solitude and have learned to appreciate my own company in a way I hadn't before. The idea of seeking a companion feels daunting and uncomfortable to me. Instead, I find fulfillment in engaging in activities that bring me joy. Currently, I immerse myself in writing, lose myself in the pages of captivating books, and tend to my beloved plants, which have become a source of solace. Occasionally, I gather with friends from the neighborhood for casual chats over a cup of tea, which adds a lovely social touch to my routine. I genuinely feel I couldn't be in a better situation. Although my children reside just a half-hour's drive away, I relish my independence. They visit me from time to time, and these moments are always cherished. Financially, I am secure, receiving a monthly pension of 5,000 yuan. Since my children have established their own families and lives, I carry no financial burdens or pressures. This has allowed me to save a good amount of money over time. However, my children, out of genuine concern, often express worry about my living situation. They have proposed that I move in with them, wanting to ensure I don't feel isolated or alone. Despite their good intentions, I have consistently declined their suggestions. Their love and care are evident, yet I am determined not to become a burden. I recognize that living with them could lead to inconvenience and disruption, not just for me, but also for them. Aware of my resistance to the idea of cohabitation, my children have suggested hiring a caregiver to assist me. Upon hearing this proposal, I instinctively shook my head in disapproval. The thought of sharing my home with a young woman feels entirely inappropriate to me. My daughter, noticing my reaction, couldn't help but laugh and questioned why I was so adamantly resisting their offers. She reassured me, saying, "Don't worry, Dad. The caregiver we're considering isn't the conventional kind. It's more of an elderly assistance service." Intrigued by this new terminology, my curiosity was piqued. My daughter explained that these companies specialize in providing tailored care services for seniors, often setting up cameras in the home linked to the relatives' mobile phones. This way, if anything were to happen while I was at home, my family would be promptly notified. As I listened, my interest grew. She went on to explain that someone would come to my house each day to deliver lunch and dinner, and if I desired breakfast, I could easily request that as well. After dropping off the meals, they would leave, allowing me to maintain my independence. Additionally, they would return every 2 days to take care of my laundry. "If you ever need anything, just let us know," she said with a smile. "And if you're not satisfied with the staff, you can inform the company and they will send someone else." Eager to learn more about this new type of care, I continued to listen. My daughter looked at me, beaming with enthusiasm, and asked, "What do you think, Dad? This seems like a good option for you, right? You've expressed that you don't want to stay with us or move into a nursing home, so this is a viable alternative." Her words struck me with humor, prompting a laugh from me. "All right," I conceded, though a thought crossed my mind. This kind of assistance must be costly. Curiosity about the expense lingered, but I didn't press my daughter for specifics. To my surprise, she reassured me, "It's not expensive. It's just 2,500 yuan a month. Plus, you won't have to worry about it. My brother and I will cover the cost for you. No need to stress about finances." As she gently patted my shoulder, I was taken aback. How could I feel at ease with that? After all, my daughter and her family have their financial responsibilities, including raising children and managing household expenses. With my monthly pension being 6,000 yuan, I could comfortably manage the 2,500 yuan expense, but I felt reluctant to impose that on my children. Ultimately, after some consideration, I recognize the benefits of this new type of elderly care. It offers me the chance to maintain my independence while still having the support I need. I truly appreciate their thoughtfulness and effective solutions, as this arrangement enables me to enjoy my golden years without feeling isolated or overwhelmed. It's a fortunate opportunity that allows me to cherish my old age in the best possible way. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment on number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 3. I am Aunt Lu. My name is Aunt Lu and I am currently 67 years old, celebrating this milestone in life with a mix of reflection and gratitude. After spending some time living with my daughters and exploring various arrangements, I have finally discovered the type of elderly care that truly suits my needs and preferences. My journey has been one of adjustment and learning, shaped significantly by my past experiences and the life I built over the years. In my younger days, I worked as a supervisor in a state garment factory, where I honed my skills in leadership and management. It was a fulfilling career that provided not only financial stability, but also a sense of purpose. Now I receive a monthly pension exceeding 4,200 lines, which allows me a comfortable, albeit modest, lifestyle. I am blessed with a son and a daughter, both of whom have forged their paths in life. After completing his university education, my son decided to remain in the kingdom, seeking to establish himself professionally. Today, he enjoys a stable life with his own house, car, and a loving family, including his wife and child. My daughter, although living in a more remote area, also finds herself in favorable circumstances. She welcomed her second child into the world 2 years ago, adding joy and love to her family. Initially, after retiring, I felt a strong desire to avoid becoming a burden to anyone. I longed to embrace our retirement life at home, savoring the freedom that came with it. However, everything changed last year when my husband, who had just turned 68, suffered a severe stroke and passed away unexpectedly. This sudden loss was a profound shock that left me reeling. It took me a long time to come to terms with it. I often reflect on how fragile life can be. We never truly know what tomorrow holds, or when an unexpected event may alter the course of our lives. After my husband's passing, I was overwhelmed with loneliness in our home, surrounded by memories that were both comforting and painful. Sleepless nights became the norm as I tossed and turned, unable to find rest. During this challenging time, my children demonstrated remarkable consideration for my well-being. My daughter frequently checked in on me and encouraged me to stay with her for a while my son also extended an invitation for me to join him and his family. Their concern provided me with a measure of comfort, especially given the cultural expectation that children should care for their elderly parents at home. Despite my daughter's well-intentioned offer, the distance between us made it impractical, leading me to choose my son's home as my temporary refuge. However, within less than 2 weeks of my arrival, I quickly realized that the situation was not as idyllic as I had imagined. My son and his wife had 2 young children, a grandson and a granddaughter, whom I had previously helped care for until my mother fell ill, requiring my attention. My daughter-in-law had to leave her job when their second child was born, and at that time, she had hoped I would step in to help with the new baby. Yet, with my husband's health deteriorating, I had to decline that responsibility, having already gained experience caring for my grandson. This may have contributed to my daughter-in-law's somewhat distant attitude toward me over the years. Now that my grandson and granddaughter had grown, I anticipated a more relaxed environment. Unfortunately, upon arriving at my son's house, I discovered that my assumptions were misguided. My daughter-in-law expressed her frustration about my previous lack of assistance with the children, subtly implying that despite my age, I should not have come to stay at their home. The underlying tension was palpable, and I quickly found myself thrust into the role of caregiver again. My daughter-in-law rarely prepared meals. Instead, cooking and cleaning became my responsibility. One evening, while my granddaughter was having dinner, she innocently asked, "Grandma, why do you cook like that?" Without a word, my daughter-in-law whisked the children away, slamming the door behind her in anger. This incident made me acutely uncomfortable and highlighted the strain in our interactions. Each day spent at my son's house was filled with tension. Rather than enjoying my retirement, I felt trapped in a caregiving role that I had not signed up for. Despite my efforts, my daughter-in-law never offered a smile, instead regarding me with disdain. To make matters worse, my daughter-in-law's conflicts with my son escalated. They argued frequently, creating a tense atmosphere that left little room for joy or connection within the household. The children, once lively and talkative, grew increasingly quiet, contributing to the overall heaviness in the air. After less than 2 weeks, I made the difficult decision to pack my bags and ask my son to take me back home. This experience illuminated a stark reality. Relying on my son for care in my old age could be complicated, especially considering my daughter-in-law's attitude. Upon my return to my hometown, my daughter reached out, inviting me to live with her for a while. However, I firmly declined her offer. The experience at my son's house had instilled a healthy skepticism within me, making me hesitant to raise my expectations regarding my daughter's situation. While I had briefly cared for my son's children, my daughter's children had always been under their grandmother's care. My daughter had a second child a couple of years ago, and it was her mother who had taken on that role. I worried that if I moved in with them, it would create chaos in their already busy household. Moreover, their apartment had only 2 bedrooms, and I doubted I would even have a place to stay. From this experience, I have come to fully appreciate the old saying, "A parent's house is always the children's home, but the children's house never becomes the parent's home." Since my return, I have had minimal contact with either my son or my daughter. I have learned that as expectations rise, so does the potential for disappointment. Some neighbors have suggested that at my age, I should not rely solely on my children, but should seek companionship. Following a friend's recommendation, I met Olu, a kind-hearted gentleman a few years older than me, who receives a pension slightly exceeding mine at over $5,000 a month. My friend spoke highly of Olu's character and mentioned that after the passing of his wife a few years ago, he was eager to find companionship and share his life with someone again. I wasn't opposed to starting a new relationship, but I had always been determined not to settle. When Olu came into my life, I decided to give it a chance and go out with him to see where it might lead. He lived in the neighboring neighborhood, so we occasionally met up for morning walks at the market, where we would buy some groceries and share small moments. After more than 2 months of spending time together, we both felt that things were going well. That's when Olu suggested that I visit his home to spend more time with him, and even proposed that I could rent out my house to earn more than I was currently getting. Hearing that Olu was thinking about this for me, I didn't refuse. I was willing to try living together, though I didn't foresee that less than a month in, I would already feel exhausted. Before I could even finalize renting out my house, I decided to move out again. At that time, Olu had assured me that when we moved in together, he would take care of all the expenses. He even said we would shop and cook together, splitting the costs. But once we started living under the same roof, I quickly realized that things weren't as he had promised, not just because of the household chores, but because of how disorganized and messy Olu was. I simply couldn't stand it. One day, we went to a shopping mall, and I saw a second-hand gold ring priced at under 500 yuan. The store had just opened, and I thought it would be a nice gesture if Olu bought it for me as a symbol of our relationship. I mentioned to him that it would make a lovely memory if he gave me an engagement ring, and it wasn't even expensive, just a few $100. However, Olu immediately rejected the idea, saying that at our age, we shouldn't bother with such things. He suggested that it would be better to spend the money on golden pork ribs to cook instead. Since Olu didn't want to buy me the ring, I decided to purchase it myself. I pulled out my card and bought it on the spot. Olu had mentioned earlier in our relationship that he would give me his pension every month to help with expenses, but in the first month, he didn't follow through. When I asked him about it, he simply said that he had already covered the household expenses and planned to keep the rest for himself. While I could accept that he wanted to keep his own money, what I couldn't tolerate was his parasitic attitude. We had agreed to divide the household chores, and at first it went fine for the first week. But as time went on, Olu's true nature started to show. During the day, he would go off to play cards with his friends, and when he came home, he would complain that no food was ready. I reminded him that we had agreed to share the responsibilities. He was supposed to gather the vegetables, and I would cook. But he would just lie on the couch, making no effort to help. After I finished cooking and set the table, he would always find something to criticize, whether it was too salty or didn't taste good enough. I quickly realized that Olu had a very macho attitude. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. When I confronted him about it, he responded by saying that since he was covering the household expenses, I should handle more of the housework. But that wasn't the kind of relationship I wanted to be in. I'm not someone who tolerates such behavior, so that very day I packed up my things and moved back to my own house. Luckily, I hadn't rented it out yet, so I still had a place to go. Why should I tolerate that kind of treatment? I'm not anyone's free caretaker, and I certainly don't have to put up with his whims. In the end, I returned to my independent life. At first, living alone didn't seem too bad. However, it wasn't long before I started feeling the weight of isolation, especially at night when the house was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Every time I came home, memories of my late husband seemed to fill every corner, and it became difficult to bear. During the wedding of Olu's son, a friend of mine mentioned that she was also living alone and had moved into a hotel apartment, which she found practical and comfortable. She explained that the cost was reasonable, and she had been living there for over 6 months. After the wedding, she invited me to see her place, and I was immediately captivated by the idea. The hotel apartment was cozy, well-decorated, and offered the convenience of prepared meals, with breakfast and dinner provided daily. Plus, there was a cleaning service, so there was no need to cook or worry about household chores. The cost was comparable to a nursing home, but the quality of the food and the freedom to come and go as you pleased made it feel like a much better option. That day, after returning to my house, I made up my mind to put my old home back on the market through a real estate agency. I did some calculations and realized that the rent for my house, combined with my pension, would be enough to afford one of these hotel apartments. The rent for the house was 1,000 yuan, and with my pension of 4,200 yuan, I could make it work. I called my children to inform them that I had found a new lifestyle that suited me. However, when they heard I was planning to live in a hotel, they thought it was too expensive. I didn't pay much attention to their concerns, and simply told them that if they felt it was costly, they could help out a bit. All I needed was 1 yuan from each of them per month, and it would be enough to cover the costs. I've worked hard all my life, and I don't want to be a burden to them. I want to enjoy my golden years on my terms. By combining my savings with a little help from my children, I can now live comfortably in the hotel apartment. After so many years of hard work and sacrifice, it's time for me to take care of myself and enjoy this phase of my life. We don't take money with us when we are born or when we die, so I don't want to be a prisoner of it. As long as I can eat, drink, and move around, I believe the best lifestyle is the one that suits me. The senior hotel apartment costs over 3,800 yuan per month, and while that might seem high to some, I feel comfortable and free, and believe the expense is justified. This type of accommodation isn't suitable for everyone, though, as they only accept older adults who can still take care of themselves, and there's an age limit of 75. Some people ask what will happen when I reach that age, but I'll think about that when the time comes. For now, I'm in perfect health and enjoying every single day. Key aspects for harmonious living between aging parents and their children. Living with children in old age is a situation many elderly individuals face, whether by choice or necessity. While this arrangement can be comforting and supportive, it also comes with unique challenges. The differences in lifestyle and expectations can sometimes create tensions and discomfort for both aging parents and adult children. To ensure harmony at home, it's essential for elderly parents to be aware of certain aspects of cohabitation: open communication, respect for boundaries, independence, and emotional understanding. Flexibility and adaptability are also key elements to consider when living with children. Life changes for both generations, whether due to work stress, child rearing, or health issues, and these factors can affect the home dynamic. Aging parents need to be adaptable and understanding of the demands their children face. For example, if their children have busy work schedules or need time to focus on their own families, aging parents should not take this personally, but appreciate that everyone has different responsibilities. This adaptability fosters the patience and empathy essential for avoiding conflicts and building harmonious coexistence. Number 5. Emotional understanding. In addition to practical adjustments, emotional understanding plays an important role in maintaining a positive relationship when living with children. As parents age, they may experience feelings of vulnerability or loss of control, which can be difficult to express. Aging parents need to be aware of their emotions and communicate them constructively, rather than allowing feelings of frustration or helplessness to build up. On the other hand, children should recognize that aging comes with its emotional challenges and be patient and understanding with their parents. Both parties should work to create an environment of compassion and care where emotions are recognized and treated with love. 6. Gratitude and appreciation. Finally, gratitude and appreciation should not be overlooked. Living together is a significant adjustment for both aging parents and their children. Therefore, expressing gratitude for the help and support they provide each other can be very helpful in maintaining a positive relationship. Parents should thank their children for opening their homes and providing care, while children should recognize their parents' contributions to the household, whether by offering wisdom, helping with grandchildren, or simply being a loving presence. This exchange of gratitude strengthens the bond between the two generations and ensures that everyone feels valued and appreciated. By embracing these key aspects, open communication, respect for boundaries, independence, flexibility, emotional understanding, and gratitude, aging parents and their adult children can create a harmonious living environment that nurtures their relationship while respecting each other's needs and experiences. Flexibility and adaptability are also key elements to consider when living with children. Life changes for both generations, whether due to work stress, child rearing, or health issues, and these factors can affect the home dynamic. Aging parents need to be adaptable and understanding of the demands their children face. For example, if their children have busy work schedules or need time to focus on their own families, aging parents should not take this personally, but appreciate that everyone has different responsibilities. This adaptability fosters the patience and empathy essential for avoiding conflicts and building harmonious coexistence. Number 5. Emotional understanding. In addition to practical adjustments, emotional understanding plays an important role in maintaining a positive relationship when living with children. As parents age, they may experience feelings of vulnerability or loss of control, which can be difficult to express. Aging parents need to be aware of their emotions and communicate them constructively, rather than allowing feelings of frustration or helplessness to build up. On the other hand, children should recognize that aging comes with its emotional challenges and be patient and understanding with their parents. Both parties should work to create an environment of compassion and care where emotions are recognized and treated with love. 6. Gratitude and appreciation. Finally, gratitude and appreciation should not be overlooked. Living together is a significant adjustment for both aging parents and their children. Therefore, expressing gratitude for the help and support they provide each other can be very helpful in maintaining a positive relationship. Parents should thank their children for opening their homes and providing care, while children should recognize their parents' contributions to the household, whether by offering wisdom, helping with grandchildren, or simply being a loving presence. This exchange of gratitude strengthens the bond between the two generations and ensures that everyone feels valued and appreciated. By embracing these key aspects, open communication, respect for boundaries, independence, flexibility, emotional understanding, and gratitude, aging parents and their adult children can create a harmonious living environment that nurtures their relationship while respecting each other's needs and experiences. Thank you so much for joining us today as we explored innovative ways to care for the elderly. We hope this video has shed light on the importance of personalized health monitoring, fostering meaningful social connections, and embracing holistic wellness practices. These strategies can significantly enhance the quality of life for our beloved seniors, allowing them to thrive and find joy in their golden years. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What have you learned so far? Was there a particular strategy or tip that resonated with you? Please take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know one key takeaway that you plan to implement in your own life or caregiving approach. Your insights could inspire others in our community. If you found this video helpful, please leave your comment and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. By doing so, you'll join a community dedicated to making a positive impact on the lives of seniors everywhere. Your support is incredibly valuable, and it encourages us to create even more content that empowers and uplifts those we care for. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.